Hey Kev, it's time to record a new Smodcast.
Fuck off. I'm listening to one of the other great shows on the Smodcast Podcast Network. Scott?
There's so many to choose from.
You damn skippy, there's so many to choose from. I'm on 5 every week myself, man. Hollywood Babylon on Monday, Smodcast with you on Tuesday, Jay and Silent Bob Get Old on Wednesday with Jay Muse, Fat Man on Batman every Thursday, and then I wrap up the week with Edumacation with Andy McElfresh.
There's so many to choose from.
Hell yeah, son, and those aren't the only podcasts. Those are just the ones I'm involved with. What about the podcasts of Smodco that don't feature me, man? Like Tell 'em Steve Dave, Last Week on Earth with Ben Glebe, I Sell Comics with Ming and Mike.
There's so many to choose from.
Hey man, there's also Film School Fridays or Netheads or Get Up on This, Team Jack.
There's so many to choose from.
The Breaks, man. Waking from the American Dream, Bagged and Boarded, Phoebe, Soundbite Nation. These are all the shows you could be listening to over at smodcast.com, Scott.
There's so many to choose from.
And if audio's not enough for you, man, if you're just like, no, I want the thick dick of video as well, man, well, you can go to our YouTube channel, which is C-Smod, or you can watch Comic Book Men, our show on AMC, following The Walking Dead and The Talking Dead every Sunday night.
There's so many to choose from.
That's right, Scott. There are so many to choose from. So get choosing, kids. Go to smodcast.com. Start getting picky, man. Stick these sweet, sweet oral sounds into your ear pussies.
There's so many to choose from.
You said that already.
There's so many to choose from.
My name is Kevin Smith.
My name is Bryan Johnson.
My name is Walt Flanagan.
And we're here to talk about Highlands, a Peephole history.
What's your earliest memory that you can, even if it isn't Highlands centric?
My earliest memory is crawling out of a crib in the kitchen. But I remember getting out of it and playing on the kitchen floor. And then I remember my sister, who was 5 years older than me, coming in and putting me back into the crib. And I was so pissed. I was like, why'd you do that? That's my, and that is on the Highlands. That's my earliest Highlands memory. And that counts. It's not necessarily indicative of the town. It's not town history. They haven't recorded in their minutes at Borough Hall. But it's, I think that's the idea behind.
They should have.
Yeah, and they goddamn well should have. That's the idea behind the people's history, or people history as we call it. The looking at the land through the perspective of the people, as opposed to history is always, the history books are writ large by people that did shit. Like got killed, fought wars, fucking changed things.
Shit we're never going to do.
Absolutely, but history is made by everybody. It's not just his story, it's our story as well. And every person's personal history, I think, is kind of important to some degree, or a large degree. Certainly to you got kids one day they'll hear it. One day they'll be able to listen to your thoughts about where you came from. So let's start with the obvious. When were you born? You weren't born in Highlands. I wasn't born in Highlands. Walter certainly wasn't born in Highlands. There's no hospital in Highlands, so you can't be born in Highlands. I was born up the road in Red Bank at Riverview. Where were you born?
I was born up the road in Long Branch.
Monmouth
Medical Center.
Now, where were you born? Because you weren't even from this neck of the woods.
Perth Amboy.
Really? Over by the Parkway entrance.
City boy.
Yep.
Oh, by the Amboys Multiplex.
Big city, yeah.
Really?
Yep.
How long there?
Oh, I didn't live there. That's just where I was born.
That was at the hospital. And then where'd you go home? You didn't go to Highlands, though.
Keyport.
And how long did you live there?
3. So I
And
was
then
3.
you came to Highlands?
No, then I came to Matawan. Then I went to Woodbridge, and then to Highlands.
What age did you get to Highlands?
5th grade.
5th grade, so it would have been like, what, 8?
Wow,
8 or
man,
9?
I would have taken you for
10.
dyed in the wool, fucking from there, from the get-go, from the jump. I would have imagined you were
But
the
you knew
original
I wasn't,
Howard.
because you were there before me, and you never saw me there.
But we didn't hang out. I went to Catholic school.
But you
went
knew
to
of
public
Bryan,
school.
didn't you?
Barely. I only really knew about Bryan.
But you knew about Bryan before.
Just through legend.
Yeah, we were absolutely. No, because Norma Matei. I dated Norma Matei in freshman year, and she knew them very well. And then he was constantly hitting on Norma Matei while I was dating her in the lunchroom. Like,
saw
hello. All the time.
It was such
So
a
that
small
was it.
town, though. I would have thought that you pretty much could look at somebody and you knew who they were. Maybe I didn't talk to them, but you knew their names.
Okay, well, I was in town from the moment you were 10 until the moment we met. Did you know me?
Yeah.
Where? How'd you know me?
seen you.
Where'd you see me? No way. All right, so hold that thought. So you're born in Long Branch. What year?
1967.
At Monmouth Medical. And so you're the first one of the three of us to set foot in Highlands.
On Highlands.
What's your first memory of Highlands?
We lived in Highlands. My grandmother lived in Highlands. And we took a ride to a doctor somewhere in Oakhurst, which is sort of like nearby.
Right.
Maybe 12, 15 miles. And the question was because I was duck-footed, like my feet go out.
Uh-huh. Pigeon-toed, they go in.
Pigeon-toed, they go in.
Duck feet, they go out.
Duck-footed, they go out. Yeah, that's why I run so fucked up.
Do you run fucked up?
Yeah, I think I kind of, like, if you watch me run, I think, like, my feet go out a little bit.
Have you ever watched him run?
Yeah, he runs fucked up.
Yeah. But the question was, would I need special leg braces, like magic leg,
like fucking Forrest Gump and shit.
Right, I could have been like
magic
Forrest Gump.
legs, Lieutenant Dad.
I ended up not getting the magic legs, but I was a little shy of 2, my mother said.
Have you always lived in the house you lived in Highlands?
No, we lived in 2 different houses on the same street within like 2 blocks of each other.
Get out of here. So always uptown. Highlands, I just looked up online just to kind of get a basis for what we're going to talk about, our subject matter, because you assume you know so much. How many people do you think live in Highlands? It is a borough. We should say that. It's not the town of Highlands, it's the borough of Highlands. It's not large enough to be classified as a town, so that helps your guess. But
do you know?
As of 2000.
You want us to guess?
Yes.
In 2000, I would say there were 8,000 people.
Okay, that's one guess. What's yours?
I'm going to guess 5,200 people.
Wow, you were close. It's very close. I don't know the exact number, but it was 5,1 something.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like 2,800 families and 5,100 people or something like that. Not big. I just always assumed more. I assumed there, it's like a...
Well, it's like a square mile, right?
1.3, they said. Square miles. It's not. I always thought too. That was one of those things I grew up thinking like, well, Highlands is 1 square mile. They were
a lot of
the
land area though too. Like a lot of the land is woods,
right,
and not residential.
Totally.
So that's why people, it seems, downtown are compacted so closely into each other.
And you brought up the downtown. There's an uptown and downtown. The town's split into two regions, and Highlands sits right on the water, right adjacent to Gateway National Park, aka Sandy Hook, and it's aka the beach, aka the shore. When you hear people go like, "Oh, we're going down the shore," that's one of the beaches they're talking about. Tom's River is another of them. Point Pleasant, Asbury Park, shit like that.
It's one of the first.
Highlands is the first one you hit.
Be the Berg,
on your way down.
Keensburg.
If you can find a Keensburg one, but this one's kind of more obvious, right on the water, and you're surrounded by water almost on all sides once you're on Sandy Hook, right?
Yeah,
not all sides, but 3 sides.
Peninsula.
It's a peninsula of sorts. So that's where it's situated, and then it splits into an uptown and a downtown. And I don't know if it's this way anymore, but when we were younger, it was very much like scumbags live downtown.
Still that way.
Rich people, really, and rich people lived uptown. But would you consider yourself rich?
No, we were not even close.
How did
to
you get
rich.
up there? You like the Clampets uptown? How did you wind up?
I don't. I think it was just luck. They just lucked into a place, which originally, when the house was built, it was built only like 2 years before for a one-legged woman.
Really?
So yeah. So before the house was remodeled, everything like in the kitchen, the counters, there was very narrow space. In the bathroom, there was like shower stalls so that she could hold on and stuff.
Right.
So the house was designed like that for a one-legged person to sort of hop around. But then I don't know if she died or she moved out 2 years later.
When did you guys move into that house? And that's the Johnson house I know?
That's the Johnson house you
it
know.
Had stairs.
Did
she ever go downstairs, this gimpy woman?
I don't know, but the original stairs had a very tacky, rubbery sort of mat on each stair. So I guess
from
like flypaper. Yeah.
Right.
So she would go sailing down the stairs.
How old were you when you moved into that house?
I was 5. No, I'm sorry, 4. I was 4.
What year are we talking about now?
That would have been 71.
Highland Avenue. You live on Highland Avenue in Highlands. That makes you fucking pure Highlands, but it's OG Highlands.
I bleed seawater.
I came home August 2nd. I was born August 2nd, 1970. I'm sure I came home a few days later, right to 21 Jackson Street in Highlands, and that's where I stayed until I left. And so I was situated on a different end of downtown than Walt was. I was closer to the bridge, and Walt, you were closer to, what would you call the other end? I mean, the Hill, public school, Huddy Park.
The VFW, the Recreation Center, Long John's.
And you moved in when?
78.
And what do you remember? Like, do you remember going shopping for the house? Because you would be somebody
Yes.
that, really? You remember going house hunting?
I remember going to my parents' house hunting, yeah.
And did you see more than one place in Highlands?
No. It was a quick decision. And I remember we didn't look at more than like one or two houses, and that was the house that was decided upon.
Did you leave friends behind?
Yes.
Bullshit.
Okay, so you get into the house and you go to where? Public school up the hill for the first time?
Yes.
That existed at that point?
Yes.
1978. Star Wars had come out.
Yep.
Jaws had been out for a few years, 3 years at that point. Jaws 2 would probably, let's see, Jaws was 75. Jaws 2 would be coming up
77,
78 or something
yeah.
like that.
Jaws 2 had not been released yet.
Could you see the important vectors of our lives where it's just like that movie was not in general release? And who went over whose house first? Do you remember?
Yeah, my house.
He wasn't allowed downtown easily. It was not an easy venture to get him to come downtown.
Really?
Yeah, he always had something to
Snobbery
do,
and shit?
or he always had to like get like permission to do stuff. I.
Are you sure you're not talking about me?
No.
When I met you two,
Well, they
you
were
guys
talking about me
making fun
when
of
I was 11, not you when you were 20.
Yeah, that's right. My bad. So you go up to his place for the first time, and does the family make an impression or no?
Thought his house was really. I mean, you say you guys weren't rich, but it was nice. It was the nicest looking house of anybody I've been over in Highlands.
Well, everyone we hung out with lived either downtown or uptown in the projects.
Right.
We literally called them the projects because it was the 70s, and I guess that's what you called them.
And what was
Uptown.
those projects? It was the
Assisted living, right?
I think it was if you didn't meet a certain. I mean, who in the 70s did meet this? But if you didn't meet a certain income level, you could get subsidized housing.
What was it called though?
Now I think it's Jenny Parker Manor.
That's it, Jenny Parker Manor.
Which really is putting that silk hat.
Manor. What is that really what it was meant to be? Like low income housing?
That's not what it was meant to be. That's what it was. Because anyone I knew...
Is it now or is it no?
I believe it still is, yeah. Anyone I knew that lived there, like they were either a single parent family or they, I guess they didn't meet certain income levels or whatever. But it was a lot of that kind of stuff, like single parent family.
It's so weird because the low income housing, like whenever you think of low income housing or the ghetto or fucking projects,
They like good times. Like
totally. I mean, that's my fucking impression of the projects is good times. So like when somebody first told me that complex was the Highlands version of the projects, I was just like, you're kidding. Where are all the happy black people?
Yeah, there's no black people.
There were no black
happy
people.
or otherwise.
Yeah, that was a weird thing growing up in Highlands. But in our youth, there weren't many black people at all, if not any.
The first, and I don't even think they were black. I think that they may have been black or like Latino with dark skin, and their last name
Dominican?
was possibly, yeah, Haitian maybe.
Right.
And I remember walking home from school one day, and there were older kids. I mean, we were young. We were only in third grade. This is before Walt got there. And we were walking home, and there were older kids, maybe even from the high school or junior high or whatever, that were coming towards us as we were going towards them, and the kids started yelling, like calling them nigger.
Get out of here!
Yeah, like what are you niggers doing in town? But I saw that.
And what
happen.
year is that? So
That would have been 75.
fucking scream racial epithets.
Oh
Without
yeah.
raising an eyebrow. Like, did anyone else go,
yeah,
"Hey, that ain't cool"? Or people were just like, "Hey."
I knew that it was wrong, but had never encountered anything like that. And the girl, not Tammy, but her older sister. It was the older sister, Tammy, and then a younger brother. The older sister I remember she kept saying, "We're not going to listen to you. My mom says you people are bigots. You people are nothing but bigots." And I was like, I don't know
Wow,
what bigot
so they were
meant.
fucking smart.
I mean, it wasn't the first time they'd run into it.
Yeah, but that was like, as opposed to just being like, "Shut up, guys," they were just like, "You guys are idiots."
Pretty much, yeah. It diffused it because we moved on.
You were a part of it?
I was walking, not with the older kids.
So wait, you were the guy. What happens when they start hurling the racial epithets?
I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Did you even know what it was at that point? Had you ever?
Did you go home and go, "Mom, I'm a nigger"?
Yeah. Did you have a
How
contact?
did you know what the word even meant?
In
at
third
that
grade?
age. Yeah.
I remember hearing the word fuck in third grade.
You knew what the word fuck means in third grade.
No, I didn't know what it meant.
I didn't know what it
heard
meant in first grade, but I'd heard the word.
I had heard the word, but no one knew what it meant, though.
No, but I mean, I don't. I probably, you know what? Thinking back, I probably didn't know what the word nigger meant because I'd never had reason to hear it, unless like maybe on TV. Because
Where would you have heard it
I
on
watched
TV?
The
I
Muppet
watched,
Show?
No, I watched a lot.
There's no cable back then.
No, but there was Sanford and Son, and there was Good Times, and
They didn't.
back then. I
Well, once in a while there would be an
I
episode
promise you,
where
yeah,
somebody
they'd
would be like, "They called me the name."
Yeah, or James at one time, somebody was bothering him, trying to get him to buy a drink or something, and he was like, "Nigga, would you leave me alone?"
That
kind of
never
stuff.
happened.
I'll bet
Did
my
it
life.
really?
I'll bet my life.
I don't
Yes.
remember that ever
Good Times
happening
wasn't on in
Good Times.
73.
Good Times was on in the 70s. No, I said 75, and Good Times was on in 75.
I think you said 73.
As was Sanford and Son. No.
You almost had him. Yeah, maybe next time, Johnson.
Yeah.
I seem to remember them burning a cross in Highlands. Or I never saw it, but I'd always heard that. Is
Yeah, that was
true?
late 70s.
That happened in the late
That was
70s?
late 70s, I believe.
So like fucking around, like
How
post
late?
Jaws?
How late?
79, 78, 79.
Bullshit.
That would be Jaws too.
I don't believe that. I don't recall that
Disputing
ever.
everything I say about Highlands.
But you feel like this did not happen. You don't remember this? You have never.
No, not that
Yeah.
they...
No, not in 78 or 79.
Right. And wow, that's not my Highlands. I didn't encounter that in any of my.
I don't even think it's
years.
Bry's Highlands.
Where do you think he saw it on an after-school special and incorporated
I
it
think
into
it's his
his youth?
Highlands.
I saw it on Saturday
Really?
and
I
Sunday.
don't think it is. His Highlands was of.
T-Purpose.
Yes, I mean you're up on the hill.
Oh yeah, that's true. In that respect, it's very much not your Highlands at all, really.
Right. And I'm not even saying that when you say that's not my Highlands. I'm not saying, well, this is the shit I was exposed to daily. I'm from
Right.
the fucking inner city, yo. No, not at all.
But you're-
I'm just saying, but I take all of Highlands in.
Yeah.
It's all my Highlands.
For
That's
seeing
like a
it.
downtowner trying to like say I take all Highlands in. I was uptown too. You don't get that. You don't get
Like,
to do that as a downtowner though.
When
Are
I
you
live
saying
20
like he
miles
doesn't have
away.
enough street cred to claim up and downtown?
Right. You don't. That's not the way it worked though.
But I did live downtown for many years.
Yeah, but not fucking
crossed
not
borders.
formative years, Richie Rich. Up there with your dollar Mason, your robot maid and shit.
Was there a distinction in downtown between wet side and dry side? Because there's
never heard that.
You guys are all united.
Yeah. Well, clamors.
against the uptown.
Against uptown. Yeah, totally. There was a
I'm about
pretty
to
big.
piss, and they're like, "Why are they coming after us?"
It was like I wouldn't go so far as to say it was like the fucking the socias and the fucking outsiders, but there was definitely a delineation of just like people downtown are kind of scumbags.
The irony being that I wanted to live downtown because that's
you
where,
were a downtowner at heart.
because that's
yeah.
where all my
Yeah.
that's where all
your
my
heart lied, but you fucking to the manor born and shit.
like talking to Consuelos
like the-
at a party.
Totally. Well, it's
Always
like the
trying
Prince
to-
and the Pauper. Like you're the rich one, and you long to switch places with the guy who looks just like you, who lives downtown and shit.
But because there were really very few kids uptown to hang out with, and as Walt mentioned earlier, it wasn't always the.
And I guarantee you, of the kids
smoothest.
that were uptown to hang out with, none of them liked you. Like you have a different mind, man. I would imagine most of the kids are up there, like especially like think about those cats that live up the hill around the way who had some problem with child molestation and shit.
Right.
They don't want to fucking hear from you're like, hey man, if I can imagine if fucking Santa Claus blew a Martian and shit. They're like, we're dealing with real problems up here.
Me too. But there were also, this is where it actually got problematic because I went to the elementary school, the public school. There was a Catholic school right next to me, so we did cross paths.
Right.
While walking
Catholic
to and from
kids.
school. Sure.
And you dudes both of you were public school kids. You both went to the public school up
Yep.
on the hill, and then later on straight to Hudson for 6th, 7th, and on. And I went to the old PH. I went to the Catholic school, which you're talking about, which is right around the block from you.
And you guys were the
Green
the
grasshoppers.
the green grasshoppers, the Catholic cooties,
I never
and
had
the old ladies piss house.
Old ladies' piss houses.
And they equally didn't like us for whatever reason. There was
class
It was like
distinction there.
Shelbyville and
That's true. Yeah. Well, you're right, man. It's weird when I think about it. There was people just want to draw lines so fucking badly, even in a town of Well, in 2000 it was 5,000. How many people do you think were?
It's just human nature. That's the way it's been. That's instinct to draw
Why?
lines.
Why,
That's how you survive back in
Killer Flanagan.
during caveman times, man.
Yeah, but caveman time's been a long time away.
But
A long time ago.
You can't lose that basic instinct.
Fucking alpha dog for life.
I just don't know why. Like why they would like you think about it. They kind of sectioned up and downtown, started.
It's like in prison,
kind of disdain
you
for one another, and then the fucking. You're right.
Yeah, and there were more since there was more money on the hill and I guess more Catholic people. Most people up on the hill went to Catholic school, and I didn't. I was one of the outside. That's why I was always longed for downtown.
See,
I'd
so
look
even
out my
while
window because I could see downtown.
You were still an outsider at heart.
Right, exactly. I was square peg trying to fit in so bad.
But this guy wouldn't give you the credit and shit. He'd still make you work for it a little harder.
Yeah,
Like you're uptown, bitch.
he
pain.
never fully trusted
Really?
me that I wouldn't bring
Did
him
you
to
hold
one of
back
our
just-
Soch dances and expose him.
get him pounded. How tightly did you guys hang from that point forward, from the point you met all the way forward?
Fifth,
Like were you would you call each other best friends and shit like that, or is Charlie Yardley a better friend, or is fucking Mark London a better friend? Like who? Like I've known you guys to hang out with other people that weren't each other.
Right, I would say that didn't start happening
How
until
do you know
ninth
that
grade.
from me?
What do you mean about fucking
Yeah.
Charlie Yardley?
Yeah, how do you-
What,
you
I
know-
don't
you
listen
didn't
to
know
fucking
me.
every conversation we've had over the last
But
20
you
years.
didn't know me though back then.
But you told me that you hung out with Charlie Yardley, and you've told me
Well,
enough
I think,
Charlie
you know
Yardley
what?
stories where I'm like,
There
all
was-
right, they
there
don't
was-
involve Bry, so I surmise somehow. You try to catch me like Johnson, I got my ass covered, motherfucker. I know my facts.
But there was be stretches of time where he didn't want to talk to me.
Okay, well then my fucking question is accurate, and you're going, how do you know that?
But how
you
do
don't
you know? I didn't know how
you
you-
don't know
wait,
my pain. But I could surmise. I've had a relationship with him where we had stretches where we didn't hang out as tightly as we did. So I
But
was
didn't
asking
want
if
to
you had
talk
that.
to him, I think, is a stretch. Like, I played basketball, and Walt joined. I think you joined the freshman team and quit, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of when we didn't hang out as much because I played basketball all the time, and Walt did drugs and hung out with downtown burnouts.
But you didn't join any of the sports teams when you were in Hudson?
I played on the soccer team, I think, for a couple of years.
Soccer. It seemed as high school went on, though, you didn't play many sports.
Yeah.
I thought it was 7th, 8th,
Were
part of
you, were you
9th.
drinking or drugging? What were you doing? in
Neither.
high school? Neither?
No, I was kidding around.
What were you doing?
I play a lot of informal stuff. That's what every day was just playing something.
You played a lot of Nair football down at the recreation center.
hockey.
In terms of, we grew up kind of right in a beach community. Jim,
A weird beach community because
Explain,
most of
why
the
is it weird?
I would say because it has a few seaside restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
but no real shopping district that people can walk around in. And the other thing is 9 months out of the year, 8 months out of the year, it's way too fucking cold for anyone to care about the beach.
right. But isn't
So
that the same
it's
with
not
every
like
beach community?
Well, no, like I mean, tons of Southern
that's
California
Seaside.
and Miami, and
Well,
I mean,
that's-
Seaside
that's-
is the same thing. I would think. I'm talking like farther south.
No,
Right.
Wildwood.
What about Wildwood? People don't go on the fucking beach in New Jersey in the
But it's
middle
still
of winter.
cold, though. They still face the same things that Highlands would face.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that
9
we're.
months out of the year that no one's going to be bothered with the beach.
Yeah, but he's saying they got shit at those other
Right.
places.
Yeah.
Lord,
Yeah,
they don't have any
Highlands.
shopping or anything at this
Because
beach,
even
so that-
Seaside has like indoor arcades that.
yeah, you can still play games.
But
and shit,
there's
Seaside.
very little reason to
I always
come to
thought the
Highlands.
beaches were beat at the
But Sandy
Highlands.
Hook wasn't.
No, but that's not Highlands though.
Right, but it's
Technically,
right
is
over
it?
the bridge. It's Fort Hancock, but I think it shares a zip code.
with Highlands,
It's the same
right?
zip code, yeah.
I mean, I think Highlands claims it as its own.
I'll claim it. I'll claim downtown. I'll claim Sandy Hook. Fuck you, Walt.
Did you thought the beaches in Highlands were beat?
Yeah,
But were the beaches?
They were-
itself
But he was never a
cool?
beach guy.
they were always
Yeah,
kind of.
those
Don't they
are.
always look dirty and shit? Like all like tampon fucking filters all over the place.
Yeah, like
constantly.
medical waste and shit. Well,
There was a point in our lives where that became a big problem because one of the things about the beach, I mean, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of slowed in going, was the red tide. Red tide was a big factor in my life.
algae bloom.
Yeah, well, I mean, we lived right kind of on the water, like a block from the water too, so you get that fucking stench. And it's essentially when ocean dumping was pretty in vogue. I don't know, is it still? I have no idea.
I don't think so, but
Used to take the garbage out, couple mile or two, and just dump it into the ocean, and then come on back. And after years and years of doing it, it created an underground mountain. Well, not underground, but underwater mountain, essentially, where from the surface of whatever, the bottom of the water, it just piled until it became its own, underwater mountain. And once it starts hitting the top, the tide starts breaking it off the fucking shit, the garbage,
Carrying it
and
around.
rolling it in. And so all this waste, and that includes garbage, later on medical waste, but human waste, because they would do the same thing. I'll take all the fucking shit, dump it out in the ocean.
I never heard this.
Yeah. Did you? Now, is this true? But this is part of the Highlands Peephole history. We'll find out if it's true. I believe it's true. I was always told this, but you've never heard it?
No.
Do you know what?
So people were that fucking stupid. Like the adults in our lives were like, well, let's dump human waste in the water that we all make a living off of. It's just
But yeah,
crazy.
I agree. It's fucking retarded. Yeah. But their whole logic was like it's miles out.
It
Like,
won't affect us.
But the poisoning of the water with like PCBs and heavy metals and all this other shit in the Newark Harbor, so that you can't. You know,
these cats
go
were
climbing
like,
and
please,
stuff.
what they're doing up there is way worse, man. Like, we're throwing little shit out in the ocean. Fish shit in the ocean. And I rest my case.
Why can't Walt?
Yeah, well, Walt's poop. But when it would break off and come back in with the tide, that was what they call red tide. And so you'd be out in the ocean, and all of a sudden a lifeguard would start whistling, and you'd be, why? And you'd look out, and you would see this discoloration. It never looked red, because I remember being
brown.
like, why? Yeah, it looked brown, and that's fucking why.
I thought those were crabs. That's what I thought they were.
Why do they
Red
taste
tide
so
was like a
fucked up?
jellyfish.
You go in there head first, mouth open into the red tide. I love crab fest.
Some Will
Oh, when they
Smith.
said red tide, I always thought they meant it was like red jellyfish.
No, that's that. Not, I mean, maybe, but that's not the way I ever.
I always
understood
thought red tide was an algae bloom. That came
I
in.
never heard that it was
I heard-
human waste.
the human waste and garbage dumping, offshore garbage dumping.
Where did the human waste come from? Didn't they have a sewer treatment plant?
I mean, some places didn't. And what do you do when it's all?
In Highlands, we did, though.
We did, but what do you do with it? I mean, what do you think they do with it?
I don't think
eventually?
it was only Highlands shit.
Yeah, it wasn't. They weren't the town fathers going, take this out a few miles. I'm talking. I don't know who they are that did the ocean dumping. I mean, I would imagine it was the waste of a lot of communities across the coast, up and down this coast.
Yeah, the only like you see now the kids banging their teachers right and left. That was not the way it was when we were younger. We did not have a ton of hot teachers, but there was one teacher, and she was a substitute.
No. Not true.
Who was the teacher?
Oh, well, but there was teachers banging students, though.
I heard that too.
Yes.
I
What,
heard
back
that
when
as
you were in
well.
school?
Back when I was in school. It was the male teacher banging a girl, though.
I know I could never do that now. It's the only reason I'm not a teacher.
And your lack of education.
Lack of education.
Lack of a degree.
Accept that from the downtowner. Stupid ass.
Did you ever get shit for being from Highlands, outside of Highlands? Did you wind up ever getting into it with Atlantic Highlanders or anything? That was the
I
next
think there was
town
a
over is Atlantic Highlands.
Yeah, I think there was a second city mentality to Atlantic Highlands. Did you feel that way? Atlantic Highlands had more money. They
It wasn't. I mean, I think Atlantic Highlands still to this day is a nicer looking community than Highlands.
Also bigger. It is actually a town. It's not a borough.
Yeah, they have a nice little
They have a
main
harbor.
street. Yeah, I mean, not that Highlands is anything to hang their head about. I think Highlands has built itself up very well over the course of these last couple of decades. But Atlantic really has a nice, real family. Like
you
50s kind of feel vibe to it.
Compare the two. Compare Highlands and Atlantic Highlands in comic book terms. Famous comic book cities and or towns.
I guess
Highlands can be
Highlands is
still.
Milestone, and Atlantic Highlands is Gotham.
What's Milestone?
Remember Hardware, Blood Syndicate.
No, what would you say Highlands really is? Would Atlantic Highlands be Gotham and Highlands be Bloodhaven?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah, that's good.
Let's just accept that and fucking move on. Did you ever want to get out of Highlands? Were you ever one of those people who's like, oh, I wish I didn't live here. I wish I lived
Oh yeah,
Really?
he was. He was.
For a long time. Wait,
Where'd you wanna go?
how early do you remember?
It's ironic though that you're the guy that wanted to leave Highlands and you're still in Highlands, but I never wanted to leave, and I don't live there, and I wish I did.
Were you in high school? Like, let's start a band, Walt, and get out of here.
Not that far off.
Yeah.
Except Walt didn't play an instrument. And I left when I was 19. I guess I went to L.A. when I
Well,
was
I mean,
19.
that's natural, but I'm talking about, like, how soon were you talking about getting out of there?
He's trying to make me look like the Highlands villain.
I just love the resentment that's still there. Like,
You were part of that crowd that was shouting the N-word. You never wanted to live there. You wasted a spot uptown.
I just don't believe
I could have been living up there.
you had that kind of mentality. I'm too big, not too big for this town, but this town's too.
Choose your words carefully.
I gotta see the world. There's more to life than this fucking
Imagine that.
town.
Let's go on, Bryan. We don't want you here anyway. We never did. Go on and find out your big old world.
I knew there was nothing out there, though.
Yeah, I came back like fucking Columbus to be like, yeah, you're right. It sucked. Sailed back in with a mug on my face. Fuck you, Walt. I knew it.
sometimes it's about the journey, right?
They never listened.
You never wanderlust. You didn't want to go. Would
No.
would you have stayed in Highlands? Why? You lived in Highlands, and again, we'll jump all over historically. You first house you bought after getting married, you bought in
Highlands, yes.
and lived there for how many years?
94, 2002, 7.
And you only left why? Because you needed a bigger house.
Needed a bigger house, and
And
Highlands
staying there
was
became cost prohibitive.
Yeah, Highlands became very costly to buy a house in, and I had to move away from Highlands, and I didn't want to.
If you had your druthers, though, you would have stayed.
Yes.
Would you have moved uptown? Finally,
I would have
fucking-
liked to have moved uptown just so I don't have to worry about water again.
Wow, ever coming in.
Yeah.
The one in class thing wasn't like we've made it. We're
No,
finally
never
fucking climbing that hill. Exactly.
Yeah. I think my daughters, I wonder if they would have had a better childhood living in Highlands than they do now. Because where we live now, there's nobody to go out and play with. There's no kids around them. And you could walk around. I mean, my childhood is just walked a million miles over the course of that town. Walked everywhere, went all over. And my kids don't walk 2 steps a year, it seems like, in their neighborhood.
But don't you feel that has more to do with, well, I mean, aside from the neighborhood, but would you, let's say you lived in Highlands, would you let them fucking walk willy-nilly?
Yeah, I mean,
Really?
I think that I would let them walk around a little
Such
bit.
a littler one now, though.
Not my
You
little
can't-
one, but my oldest one is my age now, and I moved to Highlands. My daughter is the
yeah.
same age I am now, and I moved
It
to
doesn't
Highlands.
seem like it, though, right?
No, because she doesn't have the same experiences of going out and walking around town. She would be like I dropped her off in Times Square if I dropped her off in Highlands.
Like you, even though my fucking body didn't tell the tale, I walked around that town a lot.
Yeah, I mean, how many countless
And at night.
miles over and over, just walking everywhere.
And at night, dude,
Yeah.
I would ride a bike home from Atlantic Highlands. Not even a moped. Later on, a moped with a light on it, but a fucking bike on the back roads. Those fucking back roads by the
Before
Hoffer
it was
House.
paved?
Yes, just try to get home. and
Hoffer
shit.
House.
Up top, that top.
That's not
In
Highlands.
Atlantic Highlands.
Yeah, well, I said when I was coming back
okay,
from Atlanta.
yeah.
Motherfucker, man. Just always like, that's not Highlands. Your Honor, I submit. I said on my way back from Atlantic, I would bike home, and sometimes you take that route, man, up top. But it would be dark. Like, fuck, because that restaurant wasn't open at nights. It only seemed to be open on German holidays and weekends or something. So,
That's where Walt had his reception for his wedding.
yeah, it was where the wedding was. That was the first time I was ever in that restaurant. My whole
too.
fucking life,
Me
man.
too.
Drove past it all the
I
time.
always had.
Closed down now.
Is it really?
I mean, it's beyond closed down. It's knocked down. They started building
Oh, they knocked it
houses.
down?
Yeah.
That was a gorgeous restaurant too. Like,
Great
how could that
view.
place not make money with the view?
Because it had
they
the view.
there?
It had an incredible
Oh my God.
view. I think the bill of fare, maybe people were just like, dude, I don't want to eat kraut food.
You think it was the German name that turned people off? Well, they could just change it to anything now.
I just not only the German name, but I think the cuisine was fucking schnitzel and fucking sauerkraut.
Well, if they just changed the menu like more Americana, how could that restaurant fail?
I agree.
You would have to change the whole thing.
You would have to change the whole
Yeah.
thing. It had going for it was view at a certain point, because a lot of people were just like, I don't want German food. You know,
Henry Hudson used to have their varsity
dinners there,
dinners there, yeah.
and you interact with kids. You got nieces and nephews. What do they have free reign in Highlands?
They, during the day, it's fine. Probably at night they wouldn't be allowed to just walk around wherever, but I did when I was that age.
Really?
Unbeknownst to Pam and Edgar, but I did.
What would you do?
Just sneak out to walk around. I didn't go downtown, though. Like, I'd walk around uptown and...
That's weird, because where were you walking? There's nothing uptown. Where were you sneaking around? Up?
We would skateboard and stuff. We would skateboard down by the Catholic Church down Highland Avenue. And oh, that sounds awfully suspicious.
It's just weird, though. It's late at night, obviously, so they think you're in bed, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're sneaked out and you're walking around uptown, but there's nothing up there, though.
Yeah, but it's not home.
Maybe
it's something to do.
I was
testing the waters,
man.
It was Christopher Columbus.
Totally. He's just like, maybe there's something out there.
What'd you leave your house for now? The town? Why you You got out of bed? The hell for? Why do you think back then parents seemed to be so much less concerned about their child walking around? Because I used to walk to school by myself when I was in second grade. That's when I started.
Right.
So in second grade, you're 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And I had to walk along a highway for about a half mile, maybe a
Right.
little bit less.
Along a highway
Yeah, a major highway. The most major highway in
with
the
only
area.
one crossing guard, and you probably didn't even cross at that point.
Many times now.
Yeah, it just wouldn't happen nowadays.
Yeah, like your daughter's in second grade, right? Or
Yes.
she's
First grade.
she's in first grade. So in a year's time, would you let her walk from where my parents' house is to the elementary school
On the
by
highway.
herself?
The highway is the thing that really fucking throws you, because you're just like, all right, let's say your parents are like, yeah, she ain't gonna get snatched this early in the morning, fucking on her way to school. On the highway, that's what would throw me. I'd be like, man, like you can get hit by a car.
Yeah, but that was never talked about.
Never.
That was never talked about. But what
And
was
there were no
talked about
guardrails or
was
anything. It was an open curb. All you had to do is, if somebody pushed you off the curb, you were
would
into
fall
the
into the
highway.
highway.
Yeah, a 2-lane highway. The standard was completely different. Can you imagine that the standard has changed that completely in the span of 30 years?
30 years. Yeah.
Like really changed to the point of like not like, well,
You might get your child taken away.
yeah. If somebody found out that like they let that kid walk down the highway to school, man, like every morning, yeah, somebody could kind of get DIFs involved, sure.
Yeah.
Different world, man. Anyway,
I was aware, though, of the stranger danger type shit. Like, don't get in a car with anybody you don't know, because as I was walking in third grade, as I was walking to school along the highway, there was a woman who lived across the street, and I knew her, even know her name. Her name was Yadi Richards. She was like this Filipino woman. And she was married to a guy that Edgar knew through some sort of like church affiliation. And she asked if I wanted a ride, and I was like, I kind of know her, but I don't really know her. You know what? I better just walk along this highway to school by myself.
you're like, I'm gonna be.
fucking pillow baby, you jerk off.
Be with you.
Fuck that.